Satan said, if thou shalt worship me, all this shall be thine. And Christ said unto Jesus answered and said, get thee behind me, Satan. For it is written, the Word of God, the most powerful thing in the face of this universe. More powerful than an atomic, nor a hydrogen, nor a nuclear bomb.
That's right.
Definitely. By which the worlds were established. And he said, for thou shalt worship the Lord thy God. Who created Satan?
That's right, Father God.
A created being.
Yod Hey Vav Hey.
Yeah. But even though he fell and claims to be a God now, he said, thou shalt worship the Lord thy God, and him only shalt thou serve. There's something real neat about this. Christ never rebuked the devil. He never called him a liar. He never said these kingdoms aren't yours. He never one time said you don't have the power to give them to me. Why? Because they do belong to him.
That's right.
He could have given them to him. And the only thing that Jesus would have gotten, he would have gotten them a few thousand years in advance. He's going to have them someday anyway. It says that he'll reign on the throne of David, and that he will be the Lord of this world, and he will set up his throne here. The only thing Satan wanted to do was give him a little piece of the pie. Just a little baseball and apple pie right now. You're going to be total slaves 2 years from now. 2 years from now, you won't have any money left. But for right now, I'll just give you your baseball and apple pie and let you have a good time out here with your beer and watching your television set. And you never mind raising up against the elite. Just go ahead and let them do what they want to. What difference does it make? After all, you're okay right now. So you see, the elite do have a God. They do have a set of morals. They do worship. And who did George Bush talk about? God bless America. What God? Now, the elite have a code of ethics. That code is not the Bible. But they do have a code of ethics. One of the codes of, I'm going to go over these things point by point now because this is going to amaze many people out there in the viewing audience. One of the codes of ethics that I learned from the elite is they are obligated by their code of ethics to tell you everything they're going to do before they do it. Now, I didn't say that they'll stand up before the television and say, this is what I'm going to do to you 2 years from now. They do it in buzzwords. Think for a moment. A movie. I mentioned this in the number 2 DVD on yesterday, but I'll repeat it here slightly. The movie Oil Storm was all over television 2 weeks before Katrina. And it pictured everything that Katrina was going to do to New Orleans. And everybody said, marvelous movie, well produced, quite well done. Katrina hit, did everything it said, and I never heard any more about it. People never even put the two together. But the elite, through their buzzwords, through the movie that they had had Hollywood to produce, were telling you everything that they were going to do by HARP and the other programs that they have to manipulate a hurricane where they wanted it to go. And they were telling you everything that they were going to do, but the average American never paid any attention, did not catch it. Now, I'd like to show you what I need you to watch for. I have told you in DVD number 1 and DVD number 2 what I was told that the elite have planned for you and me and everyone in this viewing audience for the next 2 years. And it will happen. Just stick around and watch. So I'd like to try to point out what I want you to look for. Now, I hope you'll keep this DVD. Now, I want you to copy it and give it to everybody you possibly can, but at the same time, keep one copy for yourself. Because I want you to go back, and 2 years from now, I want you to tell me if these things happened.
Because you know they will.
I know they will. Now, here's the buzzwords of the elite. I want you to watch for the war movies that come out, and they'll start shortly. And there'll be more and more and more and more and more of them up till the time that they have the conflict. Mark my words. This is a prediction now.
Because they're going to tell you.
This is Williamsology. They're going to tell you exactly what they're going to do. They're probably going to even tell you what countries they're going to do it with. And they will probably even tell you by what method they're going to do it, whether it be by air, by ground, by navy. More than likely, you'll see all of this over a period of time because they're obligated by their moral code to tell you what they're going to do. Number two, the national media is their mouthpiece. And you will hear from some of the leading people in the media buzzwords whereby they will tell you everything they're going to do. Some while back, I very seldom watch television. I know that the media, everything they say, you believe the exact opposite, and that's what the truth is. So I very seldom ever watch the evening news. But one night, I was sitting there watching the evening news, and I was appalled what I saw. Here was this famous newscaster, and he was interviewing, of all people, Bush Sr., who was President of the United States of America many years ago, old man now. And he was this newscaster was interviewing him, and they went through the whole process. Bush answered his questions kind of curtly like he used to do. And finally it came down to the end, and he asked him one final question. He said, "Mr. Bush, I'd like to ask you one last question." And he said, this kind of relates to this newscast. He said, "Do you watch the evening news?" I mean, that was a rather pointed question, but the old man, Bush, spoke up with no hesitation whatsoever and said no. Just like that. Well, the newscaster was really taken back. I mean, he hesitated for a moment. He had a terrible time finding his words, and he finally said, "Well, Mr. Bush, why not?" Oh, his words were the greatest buzzwords I think I've ever heard out of the elite, because Mr. Bush said, "I already know what it's going to be." Just like I heard it with my own ears. If I had not heard it, I would not have believed it if someone had told me. He said, because I already know what it's going to be, because he is one of the elite, he and Kissinger and a few others, and they know everything that's going to happen. You listen to the media. The media over the next 2 years are going to be giving you some choice buzzwords if you know how to interpret what they're saying. Next, Hollywood is their perversion. Now, are you noticing my words here? I got these 6 o'clock this morning. Now, very unusual. The national media is their mouthpiece. Hollywood is their perversion. Mm-hmm. We have sent our filthy, dirty movies all over the world. That's right. Instead of giving them Christianity, instead of sending missionaries, instead of improving their morals, instead of sending them a republic and giving them a proper form of government, we've perverted the world with our filthy, dirty sex movies. And I can't believe that you'd advertise soap with a naked woman. And how can you possibly advertise a man's clothing by letting a woman half-dressed have her arms all the way around? I mean, it makes no sense that everything has to be advertised with a nude woman. Perversion. And it's Hollywood. It's the style today. Watch Hollywood for the next 2 years. They're going to put out every movie that they won't put out to take the world right to the mental state that they want it to go to. Next. They offer you baseball, apple pie, beer, but there's one thing that the elite do not have. Now, they have the money. They have the banks. They have the industry. They now have the president and the Congress right under their thumb. They have General Motors. They have Chrysler. They have the big corporations of America, everything but Ford. Thank the Lord they didn't bow to them at the time that Chrysler and General Motors did. They have it all. There's one thing the elite do not have. I never found it when I lived amongst them. They do not have salvation. They can give you everything else, but they can't give you any salvation. They have their moral code, not the same as moral code as the one true and living. You see, there are two great forces out there. There is the true and living Jehovah, who created